apparently being breathy and talking slowly makes you a better bad guy. Does it though? Let's find out together. This is Raw Graded. Hey, the champ is here. The champ is here. Bobby Lashley starts Raw as well. He vows to walk into WrestleMania as WWE champion, saying the almighty era has begun. I like Bobby as champion. I wasn't here when he won the big one, but suitable guy to have that belt. And he's defending it in the opening match of tonight's episode of Raw. He's up against The Miz, and The Miz is livid with Shane McMahon because last week he had stomach cramps. He was still forced to defend his title. He got counted out. He was forced to defend it again in a lumberjack match, and then he lost it. He says people on Twitter will be going wild later using the hashtag #AndNew. He is fighting fit and ready to win back his belt. Bobby Lashley has some new appearance to his entrance, new video to start off with, and a bit of a new colour scheme and a shake-up and a spruce-up. It looks great. Bobby Lashley looks like the man as WWE champion. Miz wants nothing to do with this at the start, and he is walking around the backstage area trying to get some distance between himself and Bobby. Drew McIntyre is watching on a monitor backstage. He is possibly the #1 contender. They're very vague on commentary about this. This match is essentially all Bobby, except when Miz uses Bobby's momentum against him, i.e. Bobby flies into a corner or flies into a post. It doesn't really matter though, because Miz ending up straight in the air with a spine buster from Bobby. Down he comes and into the hurt lock for the submission win, and Bobby retains the WWE title. It's a B- to get us started. Strong first defense for Bobby Lashley. He looked like a force to be reckoned with in this one, and off we go to WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre is angry backstage with the new WWE champion Bobby Lashley, asking him where is his heart and his passion, using Miz as a pawn in the game to try and get the belt from him. He doesn't get to say much more because Sheamus attacks him, beats him down, and promises he's going to make his life a living hell for the rest of his life. Drew is very cross when he recovers, and he demands Adam Pearce make a no disqualification match between himself and Sheamus later on tonight. Braun Strowman is walking backstage. He's approached by R-Truth, who has a statement to read out on a crumpled piece of paper. He says Bugs Bunny has joined the dark side and he needs the help of the monster among men, Space Jam reference, to get his baby back. He lists some apologies that he wants to make before anything else happens, and those apologies are for drilling a hole under the Thunderdome, sending videos of Braun Strowman to Monster Quest, for disrupting Hornswoggle's wedding, and a few other things. But he doesn't get a chance to say all of them because Braun Strowman says, hang on, I've got to go to the ring and demand an apology from Shane McMahon, to which R-Truth tries to wipe Braun Strowman's brain with a neuralizer from Men in Black and then runs off. R-Truth stuff. Braun Strowman heads to the ring. He wants an apology from Shane McMahon. Why? Well, for being a little bugger over the last couple of weeks. Not putting him in the Elimination Chamber, putting him in a tag title match with Adam Pearce the other week, and just generally talking down to him, making him feel stupid. Here comes Shane McMahon, gets into the ring, says, I apologise, and then leaves. Looks like he's going to say something else, but then just carries on leaving. I'm not going to grade that yet. There's more of that to unpack. Happy days. The no disqualification match that Drew McIntyre wanted up next. Iron Drew taking on Sheamus. Sheamus doesn't even get a fella out. Not like that. Before Drew McIntyre attacks him on the stage, Sheamus manages to fight back into this one. Drew McIntyre stopping a Sheamus onslaught with a superplex, but Sheamus is able to hit a white noise shortly after that. Sheamus goes for a chair. Drew takes the chair from him and hits him with a future shock DDT onto the chair for a close one. We then see Drew eyeing up Sheamus for a claymore. As he runs across the ring, Sheamus just throws the chair at him to stop that happening. Drew does recover pretty quick from this, hits a claymore anyway. Sheamus falls out of the ring, and as Drew goes out to try and get him back in the ring for the cover, we see a brogue kick, kind of half hit from nowhere, from Sheamus onto Drew. They then both grab steel steps and charge at each other with the steel steps, and they go bonk. Drew falls over the barricade. Sheamus collapses back. The referee checks on them both and throws the match out as medical teams check on both Drew and Sheamus. Whoa, I'm giving this a C+. I mean, some of the bits in here were some good scrappy bits in here, but this was very, very underwhelming. I know what they were going for with the finish. They wanted to create a scene of like these two monsters hitting each other with weapons so heavy and menacing that it knocked them both out, when really it just looked like two futuristic robots having a kiss. And this felt very low what this could be. I wonder if they haven't given us a conclusion, because this will be the match we get at Fastlane, and they just take the training wheels off Sheamus and Drew and let them just completely decimate each other throughout Fastlane. And if Drew wins, he goes on to WrestleMania. That is perfectly good to me. But this match wasn't. We get a recap of the spooky hijinks between Randy Orton, The Fiend, and Alexa Bliss. And we then meet the newest member of the Raw backstage team. It's Kevin Patrick. He's the guy that does soccer commentary on Sirius XM and Fox sometimes. Nice enough guy, handsome looking guy. But he asks a question of AJ. AJ dismisses it because he wants to laugh about Randy Orton. Isn't it funny how he's getting all the spooky stuff from Bliss and Fiend, and oh, he hears voices and all this? Styles and Omos are just yucking it up. Here comes Randy Orton. He's heard the whole thing. AJ says that he's weak for being affected by that sort of nonsense, and Orton throws down the challenge to a match later on tonight. That's our main event, Randy Orton and AJ Styles. We'll touch on that a bit later on. Bit of a ham-fisted way to get to that match, but we get to that match anyway. The New Day out next. They're in Mortal Kombat inspired gear tonight, with Kofi Kingston as Scorpion and Xavier Woods as Sub-Zero. In fact, they've got the Mortal Kombat emblem, but the dragon's been replaced by a unicorn. Superb. It's Xavier Woods in action, single style, against Shelton Benjamin. We find out next week that we're going to see the Hurt Business defending their Raw Tag titles against the New Day. So this is a build-up to that. Shelton has a lot of offense throughout this one. He kicks Xavier Woods in the throat at one point, which looks pretty nasty. Xavier mounts a comeback on a couple of occasions. Shelton keeps shutting him down. At one point, Kofi shouts something at Shelton. This leads to Xavier getting a small package for the 1, 2, 3. Beats him just like that. And they head off up the ramp having a good old laugh. Giving it a C, nothing to write home about. Serviceable match, gives them some momentum going into the title match next week. As they come back through Gorilla, Riddle is being interviewed. He's asking where he could park his scooter. He asks the New Day if they could park the scooter for him, to which Kofi grabs the scooter and says, "Get over here." Friendship again. Riddle in action next. He's facing Slapjack from Retribution. Before the match starts, we find out that next week, Riddle is putting the US title on the line against the leader of Retribution, Mustafa Ali. Now, this match is Riddle to start with. Slapjack gets out of the ring and Ali shouts at him, and this gives him a little bit of fire to get back into the match, hit some big moves on Riddle, but it takes one moment. Slapjack gets a big finish countered. He gets hit with a final flash and the Bro Derek for the 1, 2, 3. Riddle pins Slapjack, and Ali is furious at Slapjack for yet another loss. Giving it a C, fine, serviceable match, gives some momentum going into the title match next week. Did I just say that for the match before? I think I probably did. Shane McMahon has more to say about Braun Strowman. He asks Adam Pearce to get Braun Strowman to meet him in the ring. When they are in the ring together, Shane feigns some microphone issues and rolls out of the ring. And from here, Raw just goes off the rails. So Shane McMahon is walking up the ramp and he's talking to Braun from the top of the ramp. And he's talking about how he would never call Braun Strowman stupid. Braun Strowman says, "Oh, you think I'm stupid?" And Shane's like, "I'd never call you stupid." Shane McMahon's microphone is really, really loud. The gain is up very, very high for the technical terminology. And as a result, you can hear him breathing very heavily. Like, he sounds haggard at this point. And he's talking slowly about how he doesn't believe that Braun Strowman is stupid. He should never call him stupid. He never called him stupid. Says that he's probably heard phrases like the word stupid throughout his life. in phrases like stupid is as stupid does, falling from the stupid tree and hitting every branch on the way down. And isn't Braun Strowman stupid? And Shane wants to say something, but he's reluctant to say it, and it's him pacing a lot and Braun getting angrier and angrier in the ring. Shane McMahon acknowledging that Braun's body language says that he's very, very angry and all of this stuff. And eventually Shane McMahon again goes back to the point of not calling him stupid, and then goes, not calling you stupid, Braun, and then runs off. And Braun chases him, because that's clearly enraged Braun Strowman. Braun runs to the back, Shane McMahon seemingly drives off in a waiting car, and Braun just walks off into the distance, like he's about to thumb a lift at the end of the Incredible Hulk. And then Shane McMahon appears in the front of the camera. He never ran away all along, it was all a trick. And he goes, he's stupid. He's stupid. Yes, Shane McMahon, he's stupid. Well, I don't give an F about Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman. No, actually, that's a lie. I give one F about Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman, and that's for this segment. This is an F. This was tedious. This was turgid. This was grim. This was atrocious. It really was, like, the whole point. This is apparently how the promo was meant to go down. Braun Strowman using jaded big man spiel across the Thunderdome from sweaty billionaire ASMR.wav. That was how it was meant to go down. Like, it was apparently in place that we don't like Shane McMahon, so when they fight at WrestleMania, we're gonna boo him. That whole thing was building a WrestleMania program, and it was written by design. It was awful. Even if, right? You can argue, yeah, but it was meant to be awful. You can argue that. You certainly can. Because here's the thing, right? If Braun Strowman was the greatest promo since Dusty, right? And if Shane McMahon was able to hop in a time machine and go back 20 years to when he was good at being dislikable, and he could certainly move without getting out of breath as quick. I know I'm one to talk. If that was the case, I still wouldn't care, because I don't want to see Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. If I want to watch Shane McMahon doing the stupid big man, which way did he go? Which way did he go? I'll stick on Judgment Day 2000 on the network or on Peacock if you're going to be American about this. I don't want to see it in 2020. It was a bad segment, badly put together, with two performers I don't want to see fight at WrestleMania. It's an F. It's an F. You know, for a company, when it comes to Shane McMahon is one thing, but let's dissect Braun Strowman. Not literally, that's cruel. Like, his dialogue is so stunted. Like, he talks like a moron, and like just like a meathead. And I know that's kind of the point, but what's funny is this isn't the first time they've done something like this with a guy like Braun Strowman. Like, you're big and you're thick, haha. For a company that loves booking big, sweaty men, they're not that great at it, are they? They're really not. When you've got a guy like Braun Strowman and you don't know what to do with him outside of have him fight Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. Oh, this is an F. This was awful. I hate Raw. We get a recap of My Hole from Nia Jax the other month, which feels like lemon sorbet after what we've just seen. It is a palate cleanser, jeez. And that leads us into a women's tag team title match between Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler and the top contenders, Lana and Naomi, who I will call Niona, as they are a mashed team. Jax and Baszler head out with Reginald. Nia Jax introduces us to her new personal sommelier. He's fell out with everyone on SmackDown. He's now on Raw. We get to talk about Reggie on a Monday. That's nice, isn't it? They start well, do the challenges, but eventually Lana gets worn down by Shayna Baszler, makes a hot tag to Naomi. Naomi goes bonkers on everybody. Reginald tries to get involved. Lana baseball slides him to get him gone. And as they're hugging to celebrate, Naola are having a big old hug. Niona, I can't remember what I've called them. As they're hugging, Nia Jax splats them both, hits a powerbomb on Lana for the 1, 2, 3, and that is done. C- for that. A few decent flurries from Naomi, and it's nice to see Reginald. That was the only good that came from this. Weird segment backstage with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Dandy are saying how great they are in singles and tag team wrestling, and WrestleMania's around the corner and they're going to give it their all. Charlotte Flair gets involved, talks down to them, and says you got 5 weeks to prove whether your bite is as bad as your bark. What business is it yours, Charlotte? That was a weird turn up for Charlotte. What business is it of yours? Have I missed a meeting? I know I've missed 2 meetings at least. Is Charlotte general manager now? Is that a thing that's happened? That was rubbish. And so we come to our main event of the evening. It's AJ Styles versus Randall Keith. Randy is very frustrated with everything that's been going on as of late, and he takes it out on AJ for a little bit. Goes for an RKO, but AJ manages to avoid it. Doesn't avoid a backdrop onto the announce table, though. However, he is able to follow up just before the break with a phenomenal forearm over the rope, and he's in control when we come back from the break. Orton lands a big lariat to break up the progress of AJ Styles. AJ ends up busting his lip open. I think he might have bit his tongue on the way down from the lariat. AJ goes for a phenomenal forearm. Orton's able to block it, but he's not able to block the calf crusher. He gets stuck in it for a little bit, able to break out of it on the ropes, able to swing things round and hit a draping DDT on AJ Styles. Goes for the RKO, but Omos pulls AJ out of the ring. And as he does, the arena gets bathed in a pinky purpley glow, and there's Alexa Bliss on the Tron with a Jack in the Box going do 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 do. Not now. And then puts it down. I like that bit, that's cool. She then lights a match, blows it out, Kane pyro in the ring, and Orton starts spitting up black tar again like he's an anti-smoking PSA from the 90s. This leads to AJ Styles hitting the phenomenal forearm and the 1-2-3. AJ beats Orton, and the last shot we see on Raw is Orton looking very cross as Alexa Bliss's laugh fills the Thunderdome. This was a B. This was the best match of the night. Not the best they've ever had, but the best match tonight. That's not saying a lot, though. It's been a rough night on Monday Night Raw, but it's going to get a B. Nothing really developed for either guy from this match. I feel like we're maybe padding a little bit with the Orton stuff. I think we're getting to WrestleMania before we pull that trigger, but there's about 5 weeks worth of TV yet, so this feels like a bit of padding. And Raw this week was a D+. And this is the optimistic, positive guy talking. Bookended by a great bit with the beginning of the Almighty era, Bobby Lashley doing the thing, and a decent enough match between AJ Styles and Randy Orton. Everything else sort of dipped in the middle. The dip lowest to the core of the earth being the Shane McMahon, Braun Strowman stuff. I could talk on it more, but do you know what? I'm pretty sure that Ross on WTF Moments will have plenty to say. So I'm sure you'll find his video soon enough, and you can enjoy what he has to say about his favourite wrestler on the planet, Shane McMahon. Until then, stay safe. Love you, bye.